Understanding true self-love. Loving yourself more than anyone else is not about vanity, arrogance, or shutting people out. It is about recognizing your worth without needing the constant validation of others. It means waking up in the morning and knowing that your value does not fluctuate based on someone's opinion, approval, or attention. True self-love is the quiet yet powerful decision to treat yourself with the same care, patience, and compassion you often extend to others. Many people confuse self-love with selfishness. They believe that putting yourself first means disregarding the feelings or needs of those around you. In reality, loving yourself is the opposite of selfishness because it allows you to show up in relationships from a place of fullness, not emptiness. When you respect yourself deeply, you no longer rely on others to fill the gaps in your happiness. You stop grasping for love in places where it is scarce, and you start nurturing it from within. Self-love begins with acceptance. This means accepting your flaws, your mistakes, and the chapters of your life that you wish had unfolded differently. Too often, people think they will love themselves more once they lose weight, earn more money, or achieve some external milestone. But waiting for perfection before you embrace yourself only leads to a lifetime of dissatisfaction. Self-love is unconditional. You do not earn it, you choose it. You decide that you are worthy, not someday in the future, but here and now, exactly as you are. One of the most transformative shifts happens when you start speaking to yourself with kindness. Most of us have an inner critic that can be cruel and relentless, replaying our mistakes or highlighting our shortcomings. Learning to replace that voice with one that is encouraging, forgiving, and supportive can completely change how you experience life. Think about the way you would comfort a dear friend going through a hard time. That same tone, that same patience, that same warmth, you deserve it from yourself every single day. Loving yourself also means setting boundaries that honor your well-being. It means not overextending yourself to please others, not saying yes when your heart is screaming no, and not tolerating disrespect in any form. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. You get to decide who comes in, how far they can go, and when it is time to close the door. This is not an act of pushing people away. It is an act of protecting the peace and dignity that you have worked hard to build. When you love yourself deeply, you stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You realize that life is not a race, and there is no single correct path. You may take longer to reach certain milestones, or your life may not look like the picture-perfect highlight reels you see online. But you know that your value is not determined by how closely you match an external standard. Self-love teaches you to measure your success by the growth you have achieved, the lessons you have learned, and the authenticity you have preserved. True self-love is not loud or boastful. It does not require you to announce to the world how much you value yourself. Instead, it shows quietly in your choices. It is in the way you care for your body, nourish your mind, and guard your emotional energy. It is in the way you remove yourself from toxic situations and surround yourself with people who uplift you. It is in the way you refuse to settle for less than you deserve in relationships, work, and life as a whole. There will be moments when loving yourself feels difficult. Days when you doubt your worth, when old wounds resurface, or when criticism cuts deep. On those days, self-love is a discipline, not a feeling. You must choose to stand by yourself, even when it feels easier to tear yourself apart. You must choose to believe in your value, even when your confidence wavers. This is the heart of unconditional love, showing up for yourself even when you are not at your best. Over time, as you practice self-love, you will notice that it changes the way you connect with others. Instead of seeking love from a place of need, you will share love from a place of abundance. You will no longer cling to relationships that diminish you, because you will know that your life is already whole without them. You will attract people who respect your boundaries, value your presence, and match your energy, because you will no longer settle for anything less. Loving yourself more than anyone else does not mean you love others less. It means you understand that you are the foundation upon which your life is built. When that foundation is strong, you can build relationships, dreams, and achievements that last. Without it, everything else is unstable. You are with yourself for every breath, every decision, every joy, and every heartbreak. Learning to love yourself first ensures that no matter what happens in life, you will always have a safe place to come home to: your own heart. Healing old wounds. Why loving yourself starts with forgiving yourself. Before you can truly love yourself more than anyone else, you must face the shadows you've been avoiding. Every one of us carries wounds, emotional scars from childhood, failed relationships, betrayals, and moments when we fell short of our own expectations. These wounds, when left unhealed, slowly become invisible barriers that keep us from feeling whole. They whisper to us in quiet moments, reminding us of mistakes, replaying the scenes we wish we could erase. You cannot pour pure love into yourself when your heart is still bleeding from old injuries. That is why healing is not an optional step. It is the foundation of genuine self-love. Forgiving yourself is the first key. Many people talk about forgiving others, yet they rarely mention the power of self-forgiveness. You can apologize to others, make amends, and move on. But when it comes to your own mistakes, you often choose to punish yourself for years. You replay what you did wrong, questioning why you weren't wiser, stronger, or braver in that moment. This self-punishment becomes a habit, and before long, it turns into an identity. You start to see yourself not as a human being who made mistakes, but as a mistake in itself. That is a dangerous illusion. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing what happened or pretending the pain didn't matter. It is about acknowledging that you cannot change the past, but you can choose how much power it has over your present. When you hold on to guilt, you are living in a time that no longer exists. You are giving the past the ability to poison your future. But when you forgive yourself, you reclaim your energy, your dignity, and your capacity to grow. You shift from being a prisoner of your past to becoming the architect of your future. Healing also means facing the root causes of your wounds. Sometimes, these roots are tangled deep in your childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where affection had to be earned through achievement or obedience. Maybe you were told, directly or indirectly, that you were not enough. Those messages do not vanish simply because you grow older. They echo in your mind, influencing your self-worth and shaping your relationships. When you don't address them, you may spend your adult life chasing validation, repeating the same toxic patterns, or sabotaging your own happiness without realizing why. This is where self-awareness becomes your greatest tool. You must be willing to sit with your pain, to trace its origin, and to name it. That may mean journaling through memories, talking to a trusted friend, or seeking therapy. It may mean allowing yourself to cry for the child you once were, the person who deserved better but didn't know how to ask for it. It is not weakness to feel this pain. It is an act of strength, because only through feeling it can you begin to release it. As you heal, you must also learn the art of reparenting yourself. This means becoming the loving, supportive figure you may not have had when you needed it most. If your inner voice has been harsh, replace it with one that is patient and encouraging. If your younger self was denied compassion, give it to yourself now. Self-love is not just about treating your current self kindly. It is about extending that kindness to every version of you that has ever existed. Healing is not linear. Some days you will feel as though you have made tremendous progress, only to find an old wound reopened by a familiar trigger. That does not mean you have failed. It means you are human. The process of loving yourself is not about eliminating all pain forever. It is about building resilience. So when pain returns, it no longer destroys you. You will still feel it, but it will no longer define you. Another part of healing is letting go of resentment toward those who hurt you. This does not mean reconciling with them or pretending their actions were acceptable. It means freeing yourself from the emotional weight of carrying that anger. When you hold on to bitterness, you keep the wound alive. Forgiveness, in this context, is not a gift to the person who harmed you. It is a gift to yourself. It is choosing to stop letting them live rent-free in your mind. As you heal, you will notice subtle changes. You will no longer seek approval so desperately. You will stop tolerating people or situations that reopen your wounds. You will feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your own story. The need to over-explain yourself or apologize for existing will fade. Instead, you will move through the world with quiet confidence, rooted in the knowledge that you have faced your deepest pain and survived. Loving yourself more than anyone else becomes natural when you are no longer at war with yourself. Healing allows you to meet your reflection without shame, to look into your own eyes and see not just the flaws, but the courage, the persistence, and the beauty in having endured. It is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. And once you have crossed it, you will never settle for a life where you are treated as anything less than worthy. Putting your own value first. Refusing to let others define your worth. When you truly love yourself more than anyone else, you stop outsourcing your sense of worth to the opinions, approval, and acceptance of others. This shift is one of the most liberating transformations a person can experience, because it dismantles the fragile foundation that so many lives are built upon, the need to be validated by someone else before feeling good about yourself. From a young age, most of us are conditioned to measure our value through external lenses. We are praised for achievements, scolded for mistakes, and taught to believe that our worth depends on performance. In school, grades become the currency of approval. At work, promotions or recognition determine whether we feel competent. In relationships, affection often feels like a reward for meeting expectations. This conditioning trains us to see ourselves as products, constantly in need of improvement to be accepted. It's no wonder that so many people end up chasing validation like it is oxygen. The danger of living this way is simple but devastating. The moment someone disapproves of you, questions your choices, or fails to acknowledge your effort, your entire sense of self begins to crumble. You hand over your identity like it's an object to be evaluated, and every outside opinion becomes a verdict. Loving yourself means refusing to give away that kind of power. Your worth is not a committee decision. It is an unshakable truth. To put your own value first, you must anchor it in qualities that cannot be taken away. External achievements can be lost. Beauty can fade. Status can shift. But your integrity, your kindness, your resilience, these are the elements that remain even when the world turns upside down. When you build your self-worth on these deeper qualities, no one can strip it from you with a careless word or a temporary setback. This mindset requires conscious effort. It means catching yourself when you are tempted to seek approval before making a choice. It means asking, "Do I believe this is right for me?" instead of, "Will they think this is right for me?" It means understanding that you are the one who must live with your decisions, so your voice matters more than anyone else's. Putting your own value first also means becoming comfortable with being misunderstood. Not everyone will see your vision, your purpose, or your worth, and that's okay. You are not here to convince everyone to like you or agree with you. You are here to live a life that feels honest and fulfilling to you. When you stop bending yourself into shapes that fit someone else's mold, you may lose some approval, but you will gain something far more precious: self-respect. Boundaries play a critical role in this process. If someone consistently undermines your worth, belittles your dreams, or treats you as though you are disposable, loving yourself means walking away. You cannot expect to maintain a strong sense of value while surrounding yourself with people who profit from making you doubt it. Protecting your self-worth sometimes requires difficult choices: ending a relationship, changing your environment, or limiting contact with those who drain your energy. There is also a deeper truth here. When you put your own value first, you inspire others to do the same. People learn from the way you treat yourself. If you constantly downplay your achievements, tolerate disrespect, or neglect your needs, you teach others that it is acceptable to do the same. But when you hold yourself with dignity, honor your boundaries, and celebrate your own growth, you send a clear message: this is what I deserve, and I will not accept less. A powerful exercise is to define your worth in your own words. Write down the qualities that make you proud to be you. Not the titles, possessions, or numbers, but the essence of who you are. Maybe it is your empathy, your persistence, your creativity, or your ability to keep going when life knocks you down. Let this list be a reminder when criticism or rejection tempts you to doubt yourself. Over time, you will notice that your relationship with the world changes. You will stop feeling desperate to please everyone. You will stop over-explaining your choices to earn acceptance. You will realize that you are not here to audition for approval. You are here to live fully, boldly, and unapologetically. And in that freedom, your love for yourself will deepen in ways you never imagined possible. When you put your own value first, you stop being a reflection of what others want you to be and start becoming the truest version of yourself. That is where real self-love begins, not in trying to be more likable, but in refusing to shrink for anyone's comfort. Because at the end of the day, the only person who will be with you through every chapter of your story is you, and you are worth standing up for every single time. Learning to say no, protecting your mind and heart through boundaries. One of the most profound acts of self-love is the ability to say no without guilt. For many people, those two little letters are heavy with fear. The fear of disappointing others, of being judged as selfish, of losing relationships or opportunities. Yet when you cannot say no, you slowly dismantle your own well-being, sacrificing your peace, time, and energy to meet the endless demands of others. Loving yourself more than anyone else requires you to understand that every no you give to something that harms you is a yes to your own peace. Saying no is not about rejecting people. It is about honoring yourself. It is about recognizing that your resources, both emotional and physical, are finite. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to something that could restore you. This imbalance leads to resentment, exhaustion, and a sense of living for everyone but yourself. The truth is, when you live without boundaries, you teach the world that your time and energy are free to take. The fear of saying no often begins in childhood. Many of us were raised to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, and to put others first no matter the cost. We learned that compliance earned love and approval, while refusal brought disapproval or punishment. As adults, we carry these patterns into our relationships and work environments, becoming people pleasers who are terrified of being seen as unkind. But kindness without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. When you start saying no, expect resistance, especially from those who have benefited from your inability to set limits. They may accuse you of changing, becoming cold, or being ungrateful. This is where self-love becomes a shield. You must remember that their reaction does not define your worth or the validity of your boundaries. People who truly value you will respect your no because they respect your humanity. The first step in learning to say no is to identify your non-negotiables. What drains you? What compromises your values? What takes you away from your priorities? Your answers to these questions form the blueprint for your boundaries. From there, you can begin practicing small refusals, turning down a commitment you don't have the capacity for, declining a request that feels manipulative, stepping away from conversations that cross the line into disrespect. Each time you protect your limits, you strengthen your trust in yourself. Tone matters as much as words. Saying no does not require anger or defensiveness. In fact, a calm, firm no often carries more weight than an emotionally charged one. You do not owe long explanations or justifications for every boundary you set. A simple, "that doesn't work for me," or "I can't commit to that," is enough. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to protect your peace without overthinking how it will be received. There is also a powerful emotional shift that happens when you start saying no. You begin to realize how much space it creates in your life. Space for rest, for creativity, for relationships that nurture you rather than deplete you. Space to focus on your goals instead of being pulled into the endless agendas of others. Space to breathe without feeling like you are constantly running to meet expectations that were never truly yours to begin with. Loving yourself means understanding that you cannot be everything to everyone. You will not be liked by everyone, and that is not only acceptable, it is inevitable. When you stop chasing universal approval, you free yourself to live authentically. People will either adapt to the fact that you have boundaries, or they will drift away. And those who leave were never truly aligned with you in the first place. The courage to say no is also the courage to face temporary discomfort for long-term well-being. It might feel awkward in the moment, but each refusal is an act of alignment with your deepest needs. Over time, you stop seeing no as rejection and start seeing it as redirection, a way of guiding your life toward what genuinely matters to you. In the end, learning to say no is not just a skill, it is a declaration that your life belongs to you. It is the recognition that you are the guardian of your own energy, And no one else can make those decisions for you. When you protect your mind and heart with boundaries, you send a powerful message to yourself. I matter. My peace matters. My needs matter, and I will honor them without apology. Caring for yourself completely, balancing physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Loving yourself more than anyone else is not just about self-talk, boundaries, or self-worth. It is also about how you care for your body, your emotions, and your mind in a way that creates harmony. You cannot claim to love yourself while neglecting your health, ignoring your emotional needs, or starving your mind of growth. True self-love is not one-dimensional. It is a complete, balanced commitment to your overall well-being. Your body is the home you will live in for your entire life. It carries you through every experience, every joy, every heartbreak. Yet too often, people treat their bodies as if they are temporary vessels, ignoring rest, abusing energy, and pushing through exhaustion. Loving yourself means respecting your body enough to give it what it needs: nutritious food, movement, rest, and care. It means listening to its signals instead of silencing them with busyness or denial. When your body feels safe, supported, and strong, you create the foundation for everything else in life to flourish. But physical care alone is not enough. Emotional health is just as essential. Many people are quick to dismiss or suppress their feelings, seeing them as inconvenient or weak. They put on a brave face while carrying invisible burdens that slowly wear them down. Loving yourself means making space for your emotions without judgment. It means acknowledging when you are hurt, sad, or angry, and giving yourself permission to process those feelings in healthy ways. This might be through talking to someone you trust, journaling, or simply allowing yourself to rest and feel without forcing productivity. Mental well-being is the third pillar, and it is often overlooked. Your mind is where your thoughts, beliefs, and dreams live. Neglecting it can leave you stuck in patterns that sabotage your growth. Loving yourself mentally means feeding your mind with learning, curiosity, and inspiration. It means challenging the negative beliefs that limit you and replacing them with perspectives that empower you. It also means protecting your mind from constant noise, stepping back from toxic media, limiting time around negativity, and giving yourself moments of stillness to think clearly. Balance between these three areas, body, emotions, and mind, does not mean perfection. It means paying attention to the areas that are being neglected and giving them the care they need. If your physical health is thriving, but your emotional state is collapsing, your life will still feel heavy. If your mind is sharp, but your body is exhausted, you will struggle to sustain your progress. Self-love recognizes that each part of you is interconnected, and neglecting one will eventually affect them all. One of the biggest obstacles to complete self-care is the belief that it is selfish. You may feel guilty for taking a day off, for turning down extra work, or for spending money on something that improves your well-being. But caring for yourself is not selfish. It is essential. You cannot pour into your work, your relationships, or your passions if you are running on empty. By caring for yourself fully, you become more present, more energized, and more capable of giving to others in a healthy way. Rituals can help turn self-care into a consistent practice. This could be a morning walk that clears your mind, a quiet moment of reflection before bed, or a weekly check-in with yourself about how you are feeling physically, emotionally, and mentally. These small acts send a powerful message to yourself. I am worth the time and effort it takes to care for me. Over time, these rituals become as natural as brushing your teeth. They are simply part of how you live. It is also important to release the pressure of constant optimization. Self-care is not about turning yourself into a never-ending project. It is about nurturing yourself with compassion, not criticism. Some days will be healthier than others. Some seasons will require more rest than action. The goal is not to meet a rigid standard, but to stay connected to what you genuinely need in each moment. Loving yourself through complete care changes the way you live. You start noticing when something feels off before it becomes a crisis. You stop ignoring the early signs of burnout. You begin to treat yourself with the same level of attentiveness you might offer to someone you deeply care about. And perhaps most importantly, you stop seeing self-care as something you have to earn. You recognize it as a basic right. When you balance care for your body, emotions, and mind, you build a life where you feel supported from the inside out. You no longer wait for someone else to step in and rescue you from exhaustion or emotional collapse. You are your own first line of defense. And that is one of the purest, strongest forms of love you can give yourself. Letting go of comparison. Focusing fully on your own journey. Loving yourself more than anyone else becomes almost impossible if you are constantly measuring your worth against the lives of others. Comparison is one of the quietest, most destructive forces that can eat away at your self-esteem without you even realizing it. It happens when you scroll through curated social media feeds, watch someone else hit milestones faster than you, or hear about a friend's achievements and instantly feel like you are falling behind. Comparison does not inspire, it corrodes. It makes you believe that there is only one right pace, one definition of success, one version of beauty or worth, and if you don't match it, you are failing. The truth is, comparison is always unfair because you are not comparing equally. You see the highlight reel of someone else's life, but compare it to the unedited, behind-the-scenes version of your own. You see the final product of their effort, not the sleepless nights, the doubts, the failures, or the personal sacrifices that came before it. In doing so, you give their story more weight than your own, and let their timeline dictate how you feel about yourself. When you let go of comparison, you reclaim the freedom to define success on your own terms. Your life is not a race, and there is no universal schedule that everyone must follow. Some people find love early, others later. Some achieve career breakthroughs in their 20s, others in their 40s or beyond. None of these timelines are better. They are simply different. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others, you begin to see the unique beauty of your own path. Letting go of comparison requires conscious, daily effort. It means paying attention to the triggers that make you feel less than, whether it is certain social media accounts, specific conversations, or even particular environments, and choosing to limit your exposure to them. It also means actively redirecting your attention when your mind starts wandering into the "what about them" territory. Each time you notice yourself comparing, ask, is this thought helping me grow, or is it making me doubt myself? This simple question can interrupt the spiral before it consumes you. Another powerful shift is turning comparison into inspiration. Instead of seeing someone else's success as proof that you are behind, see it as evidence of what is possible. If they can do it, you can too, but in your own way, at your own pace, and aligned with your own values. This mindset turns comparison from a threat into a source of motivation, removing the jealousy and replacing it with curiosity. It is also important to remember that life is not about winning some invisible competition. It is about growth, fulfillment, and authenticity. You could have everything that someone else has and still feel empty if it is not aligned with who you truly are. Loving yourself means knowing that your worth is not determined by where you stand in relation to others, but by how deeply you live in alignment with your own truth. When you stop comparing, you make space for gratitude. You start noticing the blessings in your own life, the friendships that have stayed through the storms, the personal progress you've made, the moments of joy that have nothing to do with status or recognition. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already here, creating a sense of peace that comparison can never give you. Over time, as you practice letting go of comparison, you will notice a new kind of confidence emerging. Not the loud, performative kind that needs to be seen, but a quiet assurance that you are exactly where you are meant to be. You will move through life without the constant pressure to prove yourself, and you will stop feeling like you are running a race you never signed up for. Instead, you will walk your own path with clarity, pride, and self-respect. Loving yourself more than anyone else means knowing that your journey is yours alone, and it is worthy, not because it looks like someone else's, but precisely because it doesn't. Living true to yourself, honoring your dreams and choices without apology. Loving yourself more than anyone else ultimately comes down to one essential truth. You must live in alignment with who you really are, not who the world tells you to be. You can speak kindly to yourself, set boundaries, care for your health, and release comparison, But if you keep betraying your dreams to fit into someone else's vision of your life, you will always feel a quiet ache inside, a sense that you are living for everyone but yourself. Living true to yourself means listening to that inner voice that whispers what you really want, even when it scares you. It means acknowledging the pull toward paths that may seem unconventional or unpopular, and giving yourself permission to follow them. It means recognizing that you are the only one who will have to live with the consequences of your choices, so those choices must be rooted in your own truth. This kind of authenticity is not always comfortable. People will question you. Some will try to talk you out of your decisions, not because they want to harm you, but because your courage to live differently forces them to confront their own fears about doing the same. Others will project their insecurities onto you, labeling you as reckless, naive, or even selfish. But here is the unshakable truth. You do not owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them feel comfortable. To live true to yourself, you must be willing to disappoint others. This is one of the hardest lessons in self-love. For much of life, we are conditioned to seek approval from family, friends, and society. We learn to play roles, hide parts of ourselves, and make choices that align with external expectations. But when you love yourself deeply, you understand that your happiness cannot be built on the fragile foundation of pleasing everyone else. Your dreams matter, even if no one else understands them. They are not random. They are pieces of your soul calling you forward. Ignoring them to keep others happy might bring temporary harmony, but over time, it breeds resentment. Resentment toward others for holding you back, and resentment toward yourself for allowing it. Honoring your dreams is an act of loyalty to the deepest part of you. Living true to yourself also means owning your choices without apology. It means not diluting your excitement when you succeed just to avoid making others uncomfortable, and not hiding your struggles out of fear of being judged. It means standing fully in your experiences, the wins, the losses, the risks, and saying, "This is my life, and I am proud to live it my way." It requires trust. Trust that even when things do not go according to plan, you will find a way forward. Trust that you can handle the consequences of your decisions. Trust that your life does not have to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. When you cultivate this trust, the fear of judgment loses its grip on you, and the opinions of others become background noise rather than controlling forces. One of the most beautiful results of living authentically is the way it draws the right people towards you. When you stop pretending, you create space for relationships that are rooted in acceptance rather than performance. The ones who remain in your life will be those who value you for who you are, not for the role you play in their story. Of course, living true to yourself is not a one-time decision. It is a practice. Life will test you with moments when compromise feels easier than courage. You will face crossroads where the safer path is the one that asks you to shrink. In those moments, self-love will remind you that safety without authenticity is a slow kind of suffocation. At the end of your life, it will not be the opinions of others that you carry with you. It will be the quiet knowledge of whether you lived as yourself or as someone else's version of you. Choosing to honor your dreams, values, and choices is the greatest expression of loving yourself more than anyone else, because it means you trust that who you are is enough, exactly as you are.